When you're solving trig equations, don't forget all your basic equation solving skills that you've already got. Now, two things you need to be thinking here. One is, what would you do if I gave you this question? Something squared is 1. You'd be thinking, oh, I need the square root of 1, which is 1, but I also need the positive and the negative value, plus or minus 1, because minus 1 squared is 1, and positive 1 squared is also 1. Now, you know that when you go from taking square root of something, you need to consider the plus and minus values. So this is exactly the same. The only difference is you need to be familiar with the fact that when you take tan theta and you square the whole thing, it's just a natural convention that we write it this way. And we write it this way so it's not confusing, because if we put it this way and forgot the brackets, it's confusing when you write that, whether you mean tan of theta squared or the tan of theta all squared. Obviously brackets would help, but to avoid the confusion, the convention is to write it like that. And all it means is this. Okay, you've taken tan theta and you've squared it. So if you want to find out what theta is, step 1 is finding out what tan theta is, and from that you can find out what theta is. So the first step here, before you even start thinking about possible values for theta, is think, well, tan theta, when it's squared, it's 1. What is it when it's not squared? All right, tan of theta must be plus or minus 1 for exactly the same reason that x squared equals 1 has x equals plus or minus 1. So we've just taken the square root of both sides here. All right, now we can start thinking about the tan of something is 1. What could it be? Now, you probably already know this is an exact value. The tan of 45 degrees is 1. Okay, now if you weren't sure, chuck it in your calculator, do inverse tan minus 1, okay? So what you need to be putting in your calculator would be this, okay? And you'd get 45 degrees if you did that. All right, so whether you did this step or you did it in your head, you could write that, but it's not going to give you all of the answers, is it? So next thing to do is to think, all right, well, 45 degrees, that's the related acute angle, all right? But I want all the answers that would be negative as well. Now think about your all stations to central. Tan is positive here and here. So tan of 45 and tan of 180 plus 45, so that's 225, they're both positive, so they're both 1. But the tan of 135 and the tan of 315, they're minus 1, aren't they? So you're going to have 4 answers here. And the reason is, if you want the positive and the negative versions of this, you're going to want an answer in all 4 quadrants. Okay, so this is a clue that there's going to be 4 answers. So you've got 45, you've got 135, you've got 225, and you've got 315. Those are all of your answers. Now, key step was finding this one. Second step was thinking about the sign here and what quadrant that means, and working out that it was actually all of them. All right, this one down here, start again like we did before, basic equation solving skills. If I asked you to solve this, you'd have no trouble, okay, finding out what x is. Well, just treat cos theta like an x. And what are you going to do with it? You're going to try and get it by itself so you can see what it equals. Okay, so the first thing to do to get cos theta on its own is to try and get the 3 cos theta on its own. So let's subtract 1 from both sides. Okay, now how do we get the cos theta by itself? We need to divide both sides by 3. So that'll give us cos theta there and minus a third here. Now, minus a third, that's not an exact value one, so it's not going to be 30 or 45 degrees or 60 degrees or anything like that I can do in my head. I need my calculator for this. Now, here's the step that you need to take note of. What I want to find out, let's just write it like this. The related angle, theta, is. Now, I'm writing the related angle because that's not going to be my whole answer. I just want to find out what the acute angle is that has got the cos of it is a third. Now, why a third instead of minus a third? Well, we want to figure out for this theta what its related acute angle is. Because if we don't know what the acute angle is, then we know how to make it negative For cos, to make it negative, you've just got to put it over here and over here, because the second and the third quadrants is where cos is negative. And if you want to jot that down, once you see the negative there, you can go, hey, that's a clue. It's got to be second and third quadrant. Now, to work out what these two angles are, we need to find the related positive one, then take it away from 180 and then add it to 180 to get our two answers. Okay, so that means that as we put it in our calculator, what we actually want to find is the inverse cos, not of minus a third. That'll give me this answer just fine, but it'll make it really hard for me to get that one. I want to find what inverse cos of 1/3 is. The positive version. I want this one, the quadrant 1 version of it. Okay, so that's what I type into my calculator. Inverse cos 1/3, not minus a third, equals, okay, I've got, now it says here the nearest minutes, so I'm going to hit the minutes button straight away. My related angle is 70 degrees, 31 minutes and 43 and a bit seconds. Now 43 and a bit seconds means I need to round up the minutes, so it's going to be 32 minutes. Okay, that's the related angle. Now I've got to put it in the second and third quadrants. How do I do that? Well, I've just got to take that away from 180, so you can just go 180 minus answer equals 109. Hit the degrees, minutes and seconds button again. Degrees and 28. And now to add it and put it down in the third quadrant, we've got to add it to 180. So let's do 180 plus 70 degrees and 32 minutes. And we get 250 degrees and 32 minutes. Okay?